Hi, everyone. I am Stephanie Dixon, and I'm part of the Emerging Leadership Track Committee. You can enter any questions in the Q&A in Whova, and please rate the session at the end. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce our speaker for this session, Nazneen Rupawalla.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Just share my screen, but I'm getting option of host disable participant screen sharing. Give us a minute till I figure that out. I can't share my screen.
Go ahead and try it again. I just changed the options.
Okay, awesome. That worked. Thanks, Kevin. Okay, so hello, everyone. So I am speaking all the way from India at a very odd time, but I feel very privileged to be sharing with you all my journey on how I picked up a strategic leadership role, very different from my then responsibilities, and working my way to apply techniques to from a technical brain, from my coding software domain to organizational design. I currently play a role of a security consultant at ThoughtWorks, and as I share more, let me take you through my journey, when I can then share about the dilemmas and the blockers that I faced, or I thought, weighed upon my shoulders, and the techniques to overcome those. So right from a developer to picking up a role in organizational design to playing a security consultant role right now at ThoughtWorks. So let me begin. I started off at ThoughtWorks in 2012 as a graduate software developer. ThoughtWorks is a consultancy, so we worked mainly for clients, developing apps, developing websites. And soon by 2015, I started playing the role of a feature lead, working towards, getting the feedback from clients, understanding the requirements, making sure the product, website, app is delivered with quality, towards right from requirements guiding to deployment. So I oversaw that, as well as working as a developer. In parallel, I was nominated for a leadership program, wherein I got a chance to polish and pick up many more nuances of, stakeholder management, influencing, negotiation, presentation skills, working as a mentor, a sponsor, what was different, how does it, look like. So a lot of, I learned a lot in that phase. So, when in similar timeline, I was offered the role of a program and change lead for an entry-level program at ThoughtWorks. It felt natural, like, oh yeah, I can, take it up and practice the skills. But I was extremely hesitant to take that up. So to just give a little, a deeper understanding of that role, you could think about this role as running a small office. So a general manager setting up an office, which is, working towards the deliverables, the outcomes, making sure whatever need the office was set up for, it's being able to deliver that, as well as make sure that the folks that are working in that office, their aspirations and goals are met. So this technical onboarding program, I was to program, manage, and eventually lead the change movement in it, was similar. We had the outcome of consultants going through this program and going back to their client engagements, understanding what it is to be a consultant at ThoughtWorks, at the same time managing their aspirations, growth, they're getting the most of their career right from the beginning and understanding where they have to proceed. So it meant I had to restructure this entry-level program and move it to scale, which sounds phenomenal, but I was extremely, extremely clouded with a lot of thoughts. So majorly, the thoughts that came in were like, it's fantastic, it's a strategic role, it's for technological enablement of ThoughtWorks, promises to be fulfilling, but it is possible that will derail my career. It's absolutely a very less technical, and doesn't seem like the right step in my career. And across these thoughts, I felt extremely anxious to pick up this role. Now, when I took some time out, and because the role was offered by a thought worker, by my colleague, who was always very invested in my growth. So I had to take a step back and say, if someone is thinking about it, what is drawing me back? What is pulling me back? And one thing I'm very happy that I did was took out some time, uninterrupted time, to work on checking in what was actually wrong, what was stopping me. So have a check-in, take some uninterrupted time whenever you may be faced with such dilemmas. And I use that time to separate facts from stories. So to separate out these, what is stopping me, I actually noted down what are the actual facts and what are the stories I'm telling myself. So a few things that came up were, was this role offered to me because I'm lacking effective coding skills? And being able to differentiate that gave me a chance to clarify that, like, was that the case? And it wasn't. So if I hadn't clarified it, this would stick with me my entire career, that, oh, because something I was not good at, I was getting an option to do something in a less technical side, but which was not the case. In fact, they felt that the foundations there would be very useful in the technical onboarding program, which I need to, envision and change for it to scale. Similarly, I had my assumption that only known paths lead to success. So you can only succeed if you're a project lead. You can only succeed if you're technical lead, if you're from a background of software developer, which need not be necessary. It is obvious that we tend to see that as the known success paths, but it's definitely does not mean that you cannot succeed in any other path you take up in your career. So that was an assumption I had to bust. Lack of confidence in my abilities leading to this dilemma, and that was obvious, but unless I sat down and say, is it really something that I think I'm not cut off, and probably, I'm not cut off currently, but can I reach for it? Can I do it? And probably answer was like, no, I've never had that experience, though I had a lot of passion for teaching and, enablement and working with, teams to produce outcomes. It felt like I don't have prior experience, so I don't think I should be doing such a role. And in parallel, I felt I've just been a software developer. So how is this product delivery going to match up in that case? Am I going to be able to apply my techniques? And being able to think of all this helped me look at what are the areas of opportunities I have, what I have to learn, what I have to grow. And that is how I decided, okay, I know what I have to learn and work on. So let me take it forward and work on these. But a very important thing that stuck with me when I spoke to a lot of folks in office, in family, is that I would not generalize, but mostly women tend to box, we tend to box our career. If such an opportunity comes up to men, normally it would be like, let's take it up and let's think of the repercussions and figure out how to proceed there. We tend to think of the repercussions and negative effects much more than taking up the role. Like, we'll be thinking this will go wrong, that will go wrong, and that's why we won't take up this role or we won't take up this opportunity. So we need to be conscious that this may happen, and we need to step out of that and say, great, I have these problems, these are some concerns, let me take it up and help work towards solving it. So that's what I did. I did take up the role, and one thing that stuck with me is that there's a big difference between I have no idea how to do this today and I cannot do this. And this is a difference that can make or break whatever you're taking up in future. With that, a few areas that helped me overcome this situation, because a new role presents a lot of unknowns. You really can't make out what you're going to face. But 4 things that worked for me is consciously applying known best practices from the field I was comfortable with. So what is that made software engineering practices deliver quality product? Keep looking for them and keep trying to draw the parallels from the other domain or the other work that you're trying to pick up, which is way different. So you can't cross-fit or force-fit one good practice into another domain, but look for parallels. And I'll speak a little more onto it. But these 2 were my constant drivers to make sure I'm thinking in this way. Be okay to be uncomfortable. If you are very comfortable in your current role, you're not getting challenges, probably it's time to think, what am I growing into? Because challenges, unknowns give us an opportunity to grow. So it's fine in the beginning to be uncomfortable. I was anxious myself, but don't let that draw you back from these amazing opportunities that may come to you or you may be seeking. And be committed to learning. Anything you pick up, it won't be like you'll just pick it up and get it, on a platter. So you have to be okay to be learning, and learning from books, learning from people, learning from experiences, failures probably, but be committed to learning. With that, let me delve a little into the techniques that probably will work out for you all, even if you're not a software developer. Any domain you pick up, these would find a parallel, and you would be able to take this to any leadership role that you pick up. So in my case, a change lead, organizational design, this is how it is design domain. This is how I connected a few of my software engineering practices to L&D, learning and development field. So starting off with quality gates, we always look at what kind of tests we develop, what are the tests that make sure that we don't deliver the wrong product. So we are delivering the right product, we have the quality product in place. So that helps make sure that you're having a delivery which is of quality. So this should apply to any delivery, right? So in this case, if this has to apply to any delivery, I had to start looking for parallels. What will give me confidence that, our product is being delivered correctly, or the changes in this case, the changes that we are doing to this onboarding program is being, is making sense, or is actually happening in the right, what you'd say, in the right proportion, or it's actually working out for the consumers in this case. And in org design, this would be known as measure of success. So just as you have tests, quality gates in org design or a learning and development field, if we put that way, is measure of success. So there's a concept of hypothesis-driven development, which is funnily also very, very much followed in software development. But I learned about this when I was looking for a parallel in learning and development field. So always making sure that you're working against a measure of success helps you understand in this not so binary domain that are we progressing towards the outcome we want to achieve. So definitely take a look at, measure of success and hypothesis-driven development. There's a lot of worth in that. Similarly, observability, you would want to know whether your app is crashing, website is working. Similarly, the changes that are being obviously already consumed by the consumers, are they really, making a change? These kind of change programs, normally you see value after some time, but there are ways to get feedback way in the beginning. In fact, an org design concept, very, very known concept, very important concept is take time to survey. So this became our observability criteria to understand from our stakeholders, from the investors, from the consumers, the consultants, that whatever we are changing, is it making a difference for y'all? Is it changing for the good? So whenever we got these feedback, we obviously looked at our measure of success and we kept relating that, are we making a progress there? So these two combined heavily helped me progress towards this change program. Continuous delivery. We always say, make sure your putting your product to market soon, not waiting for a complete change for a year and then looking for the feedback from your consumers, or opening it up to the consumers. Similarly, it's hard in L&D, but releasing smaller changes, releasing smaller work always helps, because you don't invest a lot of time and everything goes probably for a waste if it's not working out. So this was one driver which was important. As I said, that it's not always binary in nature. Change programs take time. So how do we know you're making progress? Data-driven decisions come in very handy here, because in this case, we are able to make decisions on facts rather than the gut feeling. And in such change programs, you would normally realize people are very emotional about what they have worked on, what they are showcasing, what they have the ideas. So make sure that we are following data rather than letting the loudest voice in the room work out their way to a decision. So one organization design concept that came in, which I found out here, was performance metrics are keys and finding the right blueprint. And this is exactly what helped there. In fact, having data-driven decisions, making it visible for our stakeholders, our investors, helped me and the team identify the right business problem. We were given a business problem, which was really probably a symptom, but we actually delved down and saw that the actual problem is something else, driven by feedback, surveys, well-informed data coming in from the stakeholders, converted it to analytics, and helped identify the right problem, which helped identify the right solution. And with that, consulting 101. So understand your domain, understanding the stakeholders, drawing up user journeys to get your pain points, areas of risks, area of opportunity. All in all, my experience as a consultant developer came in very, very handy to develop this change platform. Of course, there are many more concepts which helped me work through this program of change initiative for this entry-level program, but these are a few key parallels that I could immediately make it work. With that, when I'm saying immediately make it work, it's not that my team and me did not face failures. In fact, there were many times initiatives didn't work. There were many times that ideas didn't go ahead. They were nipped in the bud, or they didn't see the light of the day. But at that time, self-doubt coupled with imposter syndrome, that you're not cut out for this, you were never meant for this role, this was not the right step in your career, you didn't have the experience, can drag all your energy. So please do, it helped me to be mindful. So I share with you all that be mindful to continuously check in with yourself, work against the measure of success, work against the hypothesis, and it will help you progress in the right manner, slowly but eventually. So don't let that shake off your confidence. With that, I would just like to share that whatever I learned of got to explore as the change lead is helping me a lot now when I'm picking up the security consultant role, as I've picked up the security consultant role. So in this case, I'm trying to bring a change where people are picking up security right from beginning. There's a change mindset I'm working here, but at the same time, I'm consulting and advising close to about 30 teams. All that needs system thinking, needs stakeholder management, needs calling out of risks, thinking of the bigger picture, being able to find out where and what can help bring that mindset change for teams to embrace DevSecOps. All of this is still helping me, however technical my role is, in leading the team, in leading my organization to change their mindset towards security. Different domain, but the key foundation that I learned in my previous role is coming up very handy here. With that, the last thing that stuck with me during this entire phase is that trust the person who believes in you. We may not believe in ourselves, but take the leap because the person sees the potential. Find out what is making you uncomfortable and work towards removing the blockers. You've got to do it as a rhythm. That self-reflection check-in, and you should take the leap of faith when the person believes in you. So that's pretty much a quick summary of my journey. Hopefully you found it helpful. And love to know if there are any questions from the audience. Stephanie, any questions for me?
Hi, Nazneen. Yeah, thanks so much for the presentation. If anyone has any questions, please enter them in the Whova Q&A. One question we have is from Cecil. How do you jump from a technical role into a people management role? I find it difficult as open positions require people management experience and I have technical experience.
Thanks for that question. That's very, very related to how I felt. So at that time, if it's a job opportunity, being able to highlight a few points around what you've done as a developer, say writing tests, looking at code bases, reviewing code, you are working with people at the end. So being able to find that parallel and mentioning it in those words matters. So you have to find the domain that is the domain language for that role or opportunity you're picking up, or for people management in that case, and figure out how do I pick up that best practice and convert it while I'm sharing that I am good at this because I have this background. So it's always about finding the parallel, and trust me, I did not believe that before, but there's always a parallel with the best practice foundation-wise in any domain with whatever other domain you're going into. Very abstract answer, but it's more about connecting the parallels.
Thanks. Yeah, finding the parallel, that's really great advice. We don't have any other questions at this time, so I want to remind, actually one just came in. How long did the self-reflection stage take you, and who were your confidants to confirm your understanding?
Wow, the question brought me a lot of memories. It took me actually 6 months, and I'm not very proud about it. It took me 5 to 6 months to get to that place. In this time, I talked a lot with my previous, leads, to the colleague who offered this role, as I shared that I tried and clarified all my questions. And at the same time was looking up, communities on, how and what do these roles mean. I also reached out to a few change leads in our organization, but yeah, it took me that long. I don't think an opportunity normally stays for so long. I was fortunate in that time, but it took me 5 months, yes.
Great, and we're at time now, so to give people a little break before their next session, thanks again. Please fill out the session rating, click the rate session button, and thanks to you, Nazneen. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.